like Rhodey's out of his luck. His blast effect parts are all used up because that is just how they go. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Mr. Stan and welcome back to another review. This time I'm going to be looking into the Marvel Legends series. I got a lot of messages from everyone saying how about do some Marvel Legends figures, and here we go. I picked out two of the most recent ones. We have the Warmachine, okay, and we also have the Apocolypse. Warmachine and Apocolypse. That is so cool. I cannot believe how well Marvel now has responded to the whole competition in the figure market. In the past, never really thought about getting Marvel Legends figures simply because I didn't really think that the sculpting and I didn't think the articulation was all of that. But lately, it looks like they're improving a lot more, not just on the figure itself, but everything else around it, such as the packaging, the artwork. All of it is just becoming a lot better and more appealing. So I am definitely game for picking up Marvel Legends figures as long, okay, as they look better and better every single time that we can get them. Go straight into the unboxing and then we're gonna do an action bash and we'll see what happens. See you soon. Unbox them. This is exactly how they are going to look. Let's go ahead and look in detail first with Warmachine, aka Lieutenant James Rhodes. He is Iron Man's best man right there before he just took a dive in the endgame. However, we're going to take a look at this comic book version of Warmachine, and you can see already the detailing from the silver lining to the black is just really immaculate looking. We can also wonderfully see that it's got nice blast effect parts. This is one of the reasons why I really wanted to pick up this figure, is because he has these blast effect parts. I think it's great that you add these awesome types of effects, so they give your figures, when you try to do posing or battles, they give that extra oomph, if you know what I'm talking about. Oomph. Oh yeah! And we can see we got the rockets where he just blasts off, okay? We also got his missiles right there. We got his missiles. We also have additional head sculpt of James Rhodes, which is also quite good. Actually, I kind of would have preferred if they would have had his helmet would have lifted up, but I definitely think the engineering and the cost would probably have been higher, so I'm okay with this for now. I'm definitely okay with this now. As long as you guys keep it at a reasonable cost with the best possible details, then I'm still okay. But we, of course, again, I can't just stress enough to say that it's so cool to pick up this figure because he has so many additional blast effect parts. You want to have a figure, you want to definitely get those blast effect parts. This is one of the ones you guys want to really pick up. Next, let's take a look at our big boss guy, Apocolypse.
This generation has cried out for a new world.
There he is, Apocolypse, and we can see he's got some different shades of blue. Quite stylish if you ask me. Where was his head? His head's right there with a mouth wide open, laughing, just, totally tyrannical. Then he has another separate additional head right here where his mouth is shut, probably because maybe somebody's about to, give him a big whooping.
Boy, I will slap caps off your knee.
And the next one we can see, you got his skull right there. That's probably his trophy from just totally annihilating an entire civilization. He does come with one additional hand sculpt right here. It's a fisted hand sculpt because the hand that's already attached is open palm, so that's probably the one that's going to be where he is holding the skull. There you can see his detailing with his boots, and he does come with an additional accessory, which is a cape on the back, which we will see later. Both, figures, in my opinion, are definitely really well done for this line, and I think in the future to come, if they do come out with another version, it can only just get better. Here is Warmachine fully unboxed with his effect parts all laid out and displayed. Of course, he's also got a little white backdrop of the Air Force symbol in the back. I thought it would be the shield symbol, but it's going to be the Air Force symbol, so that's, that's okay. Now, let's take a look at his articulation. Articulation-wise, we're looking at his legs. His legs can actually turn and swivel like this, and he can actually bend his knee or leg all the way about this much right here, so it's not got like a full articulated leg that he can, kind of like give himself a kick in the butt, but it's still good enough. And here's his feet. You take a look at his feet, articulation right there, rotation on the ball joint, not too bad. Keep in mind, though, this is an Iron Man suit, so in an Iron Man suit, you won't get that much articulation, even if you were in a real Iron Man suit. Trust me, I know, I've been in one, so I've been in a cosplay one, so I was not even articulate. I could not even do half of the things that this figure can do, trust me. It was really tight. In any case, let's take a look again. So his elbow, again, it's not going to do a full 90 degree. It can only bend almost as much as here it goes right there. Also, if you look at his palms right here, they actually can rotate this much and they can actually swivel around. Unfortunately, there is no open palms, no open hands. Now, he also has this blaster on the side. This is not removable, to let you know. You cannot remove it. It's actually molded on. That's kind of a shame. I wish they could have actually at least made this interchangeable and you could have swapped out for maybe a hand that had the, repulsor blaster. One good thing is you can take a look. These two right here, the minigun and the missile launcher, are cool to retract and go back to the front, to his shoulder, and retract to the back. They're also on a ball joint, so they can swivel. And his head as well, okay, can swivel as, it can turn all the way around, pretty much. He can turn his head all the way around, so it is also on a ball joint. Detailing of wise goes, you can see, again, he has a very nice detailed coloration of what he looked like in the comic book. I think, very ideally, they did a good job. If you wanted to, I think you could probably just go ahead and color the arc, the arc reactor and make it a different color if you like. However, I do think everything already, as far as coloration and details goes, is quite good especially for the cost that you're paying for this guy. Here he is, fully decked out with his blast effect parts. And we're starting with the missile launcher part from the side. Quite nice. Then, of course, you can see we've also changed out his head for the roadie head. Let's look at that roadie head right there. Very mean looking, isn't it? And then, of course, we also got the minigun blast effect part coming out from the side. And his hand cannon right there. There's his hand cannon. Multiple blasts coming out. And if you look at the bottom, there's his blast effect parts for his feet. So he can go and fly into hovering mode. There are actually a couple more blast effect parts, as you can see next to his helmet. There are the single shot and the smoke blast effect parts, which can be interchanged and added to the hand cannon if you wish. Overall, I definitely dig the whole blast effect parts. I definitely hope that in the future lines with Iron Man or any figures that matter, that they all add in some additional parts like this, because it really just brings out that nice imagination of what the action sequence could look like. Here we have Apocolypse. There's the main man himself, the destroyer of civilizations, the oldest living mutant in the X-Men line. It is Apocolypse, and let's take a look at his articulation, shall we? Articulation comes. Let's start off with waist. He can fully turn around his waist. He can fully rotate his whole arm, okay? Here you've already seen I've actually replaced his hand with his secondary hand, and you can of course pull that out again with a little pin and put in his original hand, which was the open palm hand, just like that. Fits in quite nice. He can't actually bend his arm to a 90-degree level because I guess you could say his muscles are just too massive, but then again it doesn't make a difference because pretty much he can formulate any sort of contraption from his hand in the comics and of course in the movies where
You will. For I fear no
where he can just pretty much make himself turn extremely large or extremely whatever, just to obliterate his opponents. And let's take a look at his legs. You can see his legs right there. He can stretch as far as back. It's not too bad for somebody who's really super beefy. And leg-wise, as far as his feet, let's take a look. Rotation there we go. It does actually move up and down this way, so he does actually have fairly good articulation. His legs can rotate, as you can see, all the way around. His neck wise though, you're not going to get a lot of articulation unless you take off the neck brace. However, I don't believe, taking off the neck brace makes much of a difference. He doesn't really need to actually turn his head like completely all the way around. I mean, his head is, it settles in as a baddie just good enough. His shoulder pads right here are removable, and he does have this nice cape, which I'll take this cape out right here. And you can see his cape. Let me go and stand you up, buddy. There you go. There you go. And his cape here, it's a nice dark shade and grooves and ridges right here. It is rubbery, so it doesn't actually have like a fabric-y feel because it is a rubber application, but it does match quite nicely once you put it on his shoulders, like so, using the little pegs that it has. So it does actually have a nice effect. I don't remember seeing him with a cape in the original X-Men cartoon. However, I think in the movie version he did have it, but I'm not sure. I'm sure in the comics, they do depict him with the cape. But I remember watching the old 80s version of the X-Men, he never actually had a cape. I could be wrong. You guys could quote me back on the comments below. Then, of course, he's got two additional heads. One, of course, is just a skull that he can hold in his hand, and the other is with his mouth closed. Now, I do like this little head sculpt right here of the skull. It just shows that he's just totally obliterated the human race, you could say. And then, of course, you got this head sculpt, also quite nice, very dark, mean, menacing. But overall, it's a very, very nice figure indeed. It kind of reminds me of Masters of the Universe. Definitely looks like a He-Man figure, sorry.
Where am I? Why have I been brought here?
It definitely looks like a He-Man figure more than an X-Men figure because of its just natural, big, bulky size and whatnot. It just reminds me of that, but I do definitely love this figure. There we go. There's how iconic. It's almost like Romeo and Juliet, or you can say Shakespeare in the making. Okay, there it is. Finally, he's got a skull right in his hand, and there he is with like Shakespeare in the making, to be or not to be. Let's go ahead and annihilate them anyways. If you're wondering, these are interchangeable heads, everyone. So you can pretty much see that the War Machine head can fit on Apocalypse, and Apocalypse head can fit on War Machine. However, we do know that the proportion size just doesn't look really right. I don't know, maybe you could say that Apocalypse War Machine now? Does that look correct? Not sure. And then, of course, we can see there's, wow, there's just like War Machine on steroids. Meanwhile, while the AIM soldier and the Hydra soldier are talking amongst themselves, probably trying to get out of this video, there comes Apocalypse. Apocalypse is holding his nicely sculpted skull ready for his sacrifice. Why? He needs to offer a sacrifice to the Tower of the Gauntlet. He wants to channel the power of the Infinity Stones, and he wants to wreak havoc amongst the world. Will he succeed? Can he succeed? What's gonna happen? Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, there comes War Machine flying through the air. He got a tip from the X-Men that Apocalypse was up to no good, so he is flying to the area to find out what's going on. Check out those blast effect parts. Wow. The AIM and the Hydra soldier catch on, and they see War Machine flying through the air. They try their best to try to shoot him out of the sky. However, it's pointless, as War Machine has too many more blast effect parts just rocketing down, shooting at the Hydra and AIM soldier. My goodness! Boom, boom, boom. War Machine finally lands on the final blast effect parts on the ground. As we know, they are not easy to balance, but with some practice, they can be done. As Apocalypse has just changed out his head for his head with his gaping mouth open, Apocalypse laughs at War Machine in his puny form. However, does War Machine have only just himself to fight off the mighty Apocalypse? We are not sure just yet. What is gonna happen? Of course not! Here comes the 1-in-6 Hot Toys version of the War Machine Punisher, followed by the SHF series of the Ryu from Street Fighter for size comparison. Wait, does this mean Apocalypse is just all on his own? As if he really needed the help? No way! He's actually summoned the 2011 San Diego Comic-Con Sentinel! That's right, it's the Sentinel. That's not the HasLab, because the HasLab's just way too expensive. And this is still carded inside the box unopened, and it will remain unopened because I'm not going to use it for this video. All-out war brawl, just like the name says, War Machine, with all those blast effect parts. You can see there is the Hot Toys version of the Punisher, way cool with all those blast effect parts, followed by the Marvel Legends War Machine blasting off so many missiles. And what does Ryu have? Ryu summoning his Fireball, or his signature move, the Hadouken. Here it goes. Hadouken! And he's gonna knock it into... Oh! He knocked off the skull! The skull is off of Apocalypse! It's now Ryu against Apocalypse. Apocalypse is going to lift up his mighty leg, and he's going to use his good articulation to do a huge kick. Boom! Boom! And stomp down on Ryu. Check it out, everybody. He is now definitely out for the count. Oh my goodness. As the two War Machines continue to lay fire on Apocalypse, which really has no effect, he now uses his arms to transform into some sort of contraption that we always see in X-Men cartoons. This time, Apocalypse makes a claw from his arm, and he uses the arm to grab the War Machine. Oh, he grabs the Hot Toys War Machine, takes him out of the action. Oh my goodness, that just leaves The Marvel Legends War Machine. What is he going to do? Like Rhodey's out of his luck. His blast effect parts are all used up because that is just how they go. And Ryu is already down smack out of the count. Look at him with his mouth jabbed open. And Apocalypse is unscathed. He doesn't even have a scratch on his armor. What are they gonna do? What's gonna happen? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But we hear something coming. There's something coming really fast. Whoa, what is that? It looks like an axe of some sort. Oh, boom! Oh no! Oh, totally gone. Suddenly, the thunder is coming. It sounds like a storm's coming, but wait, that's not a storm. Actually, it's boom! It's the Hot Toys version of the Infinity War Thor. He's holding Stormbringer. As Thor always said, he only needed to cut the what? Hey everyone, thanks for watching again this review. I hope you all like it, and I hope you also like that little skit I put together with the War Machine and Apocalypse. Slowly but surely, I'm kind of trying to figure out how to use this special effects stuff on the software. Me, just to do this, it takes hours and hours, and I'm just like brain dead when it comes to these kind of like computer software rendering, whatnot. But let's talk about the figure itself. Figures itself, I can say for the Marvel line, they're being a much better line in its own. If you guys saw the detailing on Apocalypse and of course on the War Machine, articulation wise, it is as good as it's going to get for this line to date. They're going to probably continue to improve because I can see in the past the articulation was never like this. I never actually picked up any of the Marvel line figures apart from you could see the Sentinel from the San Diego Comic-Con, but any other normal figures from like Toy Biz or Marvel lines I never really picked up because it didn't really dig the sculpt, and I didn't really like how they looked. They really weren't appealing. However, these are actually getting better and better every time. I see on the forums everyone's actually picking up the new Deadpool line, and the new Marvel Legends that are coming out this coming fall also look quite good. I hope I can get a hold of those and also do a nice review for you guys as well later down the line. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of review. For myself, okay, this is just my silly ideas about how I think the action figures can be used, and this is another way that we should also enjoy our action figures. Until then, guys, I will see you on the next video.